Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Narazgel and I welcome you to this HoI4 modding tutorial for total beginners. Today we'll take a look on events. If you haven't checked previous 3 videos, make sure to do so and to claim that starter pack because we are building on those files from it. And now, let's do some coding or modding. So, to start modding events, we will open our mod folder. And here go to the events. Here I have prepared file for you. Again, you can get it from that starter pack I'm constantly talking on. And well, those are the events. This again looks complicated, but don't worry, normal events without my notes and all the stuff that are here look like this. So I will begin by explaining what the events contain, then we will do some basic event modding and then look onto some a bit more complicated stuff. So firstly, the event folder must have namespace, add namespace. This is like the only thing that's here in this file that isn't the event. That namespace must always be set up, and as you can see it's AFK /tag, and we will be then using this namespace in all of the events. As you can see, for example, here we are still using that namespace. So it's like the ID of all the events like together, because then individual events has their own ID, which is determined by this number. But the namespace, you always have to set up the namespace and then use that namespace in your events. Now let's take a look on what's in the individual events. We'll begin with this one. This is the event that only has one option. You can see that the event begins here and ends here. It has some ID, which is determined by that name tag and some number. Then title, which is the title of the event. I will actually trigger that event to show you. This is the title. You can see that the title is .t. You will be using this and this and this in the localization, which we will show in the later video. Then that event has some description. You can see .d. Then some picture, which is this, and then some determination how it is triggered. Usually you put here is triggered only yes. That means that that event can only be triggered by command. Command for triggering events, if we take a look on to the wiki, is country_event. This is the easiest and well most simplified, and this is a bit advanced command for triggering events. It adds some days before that event is triggered. So if you use this command, that event will trigger immediately. If you use this command, that event will be triggered in 10 days and some random days, but you can just do this to trigger it in 10 days. So if you are using isTriggered only, you always have to have certain commands somewhere to trigger that event. If we take a look up to my notes, you will see that I have put it here, and I said that these are the conditions how this event will be triggered. This is what we have talked about, is triggered only yes. And this other section is triggered no, is triggered only no. That means that it can happen randomly. You don't have to use the command. Then you can put fire only once, no or yes. If you put no, it will mean that that event will repeat itself after certain days. Then you have mean days to happen. That means how long will this event to take before it's triggered, if these conditions are satisfied. Usually you will be putting some tag here, because if you didn't put tag here, this event would trigger for every nation in the game. Therefore you usually put tag here. And you can also list some other conditions here. For example, if you want this event to trigger only if you have war, you will put has war. Yes, again, you can find these conditions in the vanilla files or on the wiki. And this event would then trigger if you have a war. You would also want probably put fire only once, yes, so this event will only trigger once when you go to war. But you know, that's usually you will be just triggering it through effects. So that's this, like how it should be triggered. And then we have the options. This one bracket is one option. As you can see in this event, we have one option and second option. That means that this event will have two options. When we trigger it in the game, you will see it has two options. You can also just copy this, change the name of it, trigger it event, and it will have three options. In the options, when we take a look down again, you can see that we have certain name for that option, which is again name tag, number, and .a. I think you can use like anything you want here, and possibly even here and here, but it's much like it's the easiest to use. Basically the same ID you have for that event, and then just .t or .d. Just be careful when you make fourth option, which would be .d. You can't use this. Well, you can, but it will work wrongly because .d is also .d in the description. Therefore you have to do .e. Otherwise, when you localize these things, this option, like the text that would be showing there, would be the same text as you have for the description of that event. And then you have AI chance to select that option. If we have two options and one has 5 and the second one has 0, it means that AI has 5 to 0 chance to select this option. Therefore it will always select this option. If you have two options and for example put 75 here and 25 here, it will mean that AI has 75% to choose this option and 25% to choose this option. So sometimes it might happen that AI will choose this option, even though it's less likely. We can talk more about the AI in the next videos if you want to. Now I will just quickly mention that you can put some modifiers here. So if you have in this AI bracket modifier, you put either at equals some number or factor equals some number, and then you put some conditions. So this will function the way that the AI has 25 points to choose this option. I am not saying percent because if these points can be higher than 100%, so it will have 25 points to choose this option, and if that AI is at war, it will add 2 points to this base, so it will have 35 points to choose this option. Or you can use factor, which multiplies this base. So if you put factor 2 and the AI is not a subject, it will have 50% or 50 points to choose this option. And if the AI has war and also is not a subject, it will actually have 25 plus 10, which is 35, times 2, which is 70, so it will have 70 points to choose this option. And lastly, we have effects of that event, which you put here. Now let's do some event modding. For that I will change the name tag to Sweden because we are working with Sweden. So I will do SWE replace all. That will change all of the name tags and IDs I need. We will see when we scroll up that the namespace also changed. Then I will copy. Let's begin with the most simple event, this one, and let's give it number 10. I usually start from like the whole numbers, from decimals. So we have created our own event basically already. If I copy this ID and put it into console, okay, once again, sometimes you need to refresh the file in order to work. You can see that our event works. We can now put this event, for example, into our focus tree, which we have created. Let's add it here, just to make it simpler for us, to the first focus. Let's delete this for now, and we will use the command to trigger events. Again, you can find it in the vanilla files like I told you earlier, because that might be easier for you, for the beginning at least. For example, this focus gives the event. I will use wiki now. Country event, let's put it here. Let's change the ID of that event. And when we take a look on our focus, you will see that it now triggers that event. We of course also want this event to have certain effect, for example at political power. For that we will search for political power, put it here onto our event, refresh our focus tree by simply saving it again, and when we complete this focus, we will see that this event triggers correctly and it gives 100 political power. It's that simple. It is simple, right? Yeah. Let's move to the, I wouldn't say even complicated, but more interesting events. Because events usually work the way that you want that event to be triggered for usually other country. For example, if we are playing as Sweden, you want that event to be triggered for Germany, and then Germany will be able to choose which option they will select, and based on the option they select, we will get a response from them. That's used for large variety of the events. For example, Anschluss, you know, Germany gives Austria event, they can choose either submit or not, and Germany gets response. For that I have prepared these like template events, which we will copy all of them, change the numbers, so we have 10 here, so I will start with 20, change all of this to 20. Then we have these other events which will be responses, so let's do 21 for this one and 22 to this one. And you can also see that in the effects I already have something prepared. Let's talk about it now. These root and from are basically scopes. You can see that you can find them on the Hearts of Iron 4 wiki about scopes. We have root, we have from, and there are some others. For example, this, priv, which is previous tag you mention. You also have tag, which we are already using. We have overlord, faction leader, owner, controller, but most important and mostly used are from and then root. So root means that that effect will be triggered for that nation that basically clicks that event. So for basically when we are playing as Sweden and when we get that event, we are root, so it will trigger for us. So if we add political power here and trigger this event, you will see that we get political power. However, this option already counts with the fact that we are root, so you don't have to use root there. It's usable in some cases when you need it, but most of the time you will be using from. From basically substitutes the tag that gave you this event. So if we give Germany this event, which we'll do right now, we will go to our focus and change ID of this event and put German ID or German tag before it. You will see that if we complete now this focus, German Reich gets that event because we have Germany in front of our command. Now Germany will get this event and they will be able to choose option A or option B. And because we want to get response from them, we will use from. You could also use your tag Sweden. It would do the same thing. However, if you are working on some events that can be used, for example, for multiple nations, you will be using from, because that way you don't have to go and change tags everywhere. So when I am working on events, I am usually using from because it saves me some time. And in some cases you even can't use tag because you don't know for which nation will that response go. So now if Germany chooses option A, we will get from, which is us because we gave them that event. We will get this event, which we need to choose the ID for this one, and the second one we will change for this one. Let's do it that way that this, if they choose option A, we get event number 21, which will give us stability, and event number 2 will give us war support. So if we now complete this focus and Germany will get that event, you will see that they have chosen option A because we got event number 21, which gives us stability. Now obviously you would put something for Germany, so they get something from it as well. For example, stability, and for war support here. And maybe we want this option B to add us to their faction. To do that, you would again search from the vanilla files or go to the wiki, search for add to faction, select this command, put it here, and here again we can use add to faction Sweden because that would add us to their faction. Or we can use from because we gave them that event, so we are from. And that way, if you, for example, copy this event and use it for Finland, Finland will actually get added to their faction because you are using from. So it doesn't matter, well, it only matters who gave them this event. In the video number 2, where we were talking about focus trees, we talked that you could do, for example, focus tree for all 3 or 4 Nordic nations. And that way it would be amazingly, almost necessary to use from, because you don't know which country from them, because they would have the same focus tree, would give Germany that event. So you would use from. I hope that's clear. Now there is also this effect tooltip. What's under this effect tooltip basically only shows you the effects, but it does nothing. It's useful to use in the events, so you know, as Germany, when you get this event, you will know what that other country will get. And through event number 21 we will get some stability, so we will put the stability to the effect tooltip. That way when Germany gets this event, they will see that they get 10% stability, and that nation that gave them this event will also get 10% stability. So here you would put effects of that second event because you get this event from the option B. So you would put add war support. Using this really improves the overall look of your mod, because player will know exactly what will happen when they click these options. And you can use it other way around as well. For example, if we get if Germany chooses this option B and we get event number 22, you will get war support. That's already noted here. But you also, as Sweden, want to know what Germany got, because you might not remember it from the event. So you would do it the same way. You would do from, just delete this, from which is Germany in our cases, because Germany now gave us this event. Germany completed option B of this event, and that gave us this event number 22. So Germany is now from, and we would put to the effect tooltip what they got. So we would put add war support because they got war support, and they also added us to the faction. So we would put that here. However, now Germany, this line of code, the second one, add to faction equals from, means that from got added to the faction. However, from for us is now Germany. So we would have to choose this from to root, because we got added to that faction, not Germany got added to their own faction. We got. Therefore, we will use root here. Now we can test it. So I will just quickly make AI chance to 0 for them to select the first option, because we want them to select the second option. I will save it. Now trigger that event again from this focus. And you can see that we got event number 22. You can also see that we are already, when we take a look, we are in German faction, even though we haven't pressed anything. And when we take a look here, you will see that those effects tell you that you joined Axis. And because this happens when Germany click this option, we are already there. So Germany, even though it says here that they should get 10% war support, they already got that war support. It's just an information for you. However, if we click this event, we will get that 10% war support, because it's not in the effect tooltip. We didn't get anything from it basically yet. So when we click it, we got 10% war support. And well, that's again basically all of it for the event modding. It's again that easy. If it doesn't seem like that for you, trust me, just create 10 events and you will be a professional in this. Here is just something I would like to show you. This might be useful when we are a bit more experienced. This is used for when you want, for example, some event to trigger for more nations. We will, however, talk about this in the video 7, where we will do like a sum up. So just so you know, it will also be in the starter pack, in the notes and useful code lines. And when you need them, you can just copy them and paste them into your own mod. And that will be all for this video. I hope it was clear for you, but I think once you know what commands, modifiers, conditions, scopes are and how to use them, I think you are good to go. I'm trying to make these videos as short as possible, so you really get to know the most important basics, and then it's up to you just to try it, and you will see. I can't stress this enough, but just try to code for 3 hours and you will know how to do basically 50% at least or 80% of things. And yeah, I will see you at the next video where we take a look on decisions, which again I'll try to make it as short as possible because you already know most of the stuff, so I will just explain some basics of it. And well, then we only have to do a recap and maybe take a look on some more advanced things. So, you know, do usual stuff, maybe like the video and so on. And if you have any questions, contact me on UMC Discord. See ya!